One of the best pieces of advice I ever received as a young Marine was inspect, don't expect. Inspections are a fundamental duty of every infantry unit leader. Whether you're a team leader, squad leader, platoon sergeant, or platoon commander, inspecting your men is the best way to ensure that they have the right gear and equipment for the mission, as well as ensure that they are in the right mental mindset. In this episode of Infantryman's Guide, we're going to be looking at pre-combat checks and pre-combat inspections. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment.
Inspections and rehearsals are vital to proper preparation prior to stepping off on any combat operation. Inspections and rehearsals are conducted regardless of how experienced your troops are. Inspections determine both the mental and physical state of readiness of the men. As a team, squad, or patrol leader, you should inspect the men prior to rehearsals to ensure your guys are prepared. Inspections are generally conducted in a line in their respective team or squad order. Troops should stage all the gear to be taken on the mission on a poncho in a junk on the bunk fashion so that the inspecting leader can assure all mission essential gear is being taken and that no excessive or unnecessary gear is being brought. Next, inspections should be completed in full battle rattle. Consider this a full dress rehearsal. As a leader inspecting your men, here are a few things you should be considering. First, their uniform. Ensure your men are wearing their prescribed uniform correctly and professionally in accordance with your unit's SOPs. Utilities should be serviceable without tears. Dog tags should be worn for identification purposes, 2 tags around the neck and 1 in the left boot. ID cards should be on them and generally kept in the left breast pocket. Watches that are worn should be in a tactical color and not in a flashy high visibility color. Even if a watch is of a tactical color, caution should be taken when wearing a watch in that the watch's light, if activated at night, this will stand out like a bright flashlight through MVGs. To mitigate this threat, ensure that your watch is covered by your gloves, or you can even wear a watch band specifically designed to cover the watch. Glasses should be tactical colored ballistic eyewear with tinted lenses for day and clear lenses for night. Flashy civilian eyewear is a no-go. While inspecting the individual's gear, look for unnecessary equipment and personal items.
During the course of your inspection, you need to be looking for flashy, no tactical pieces of gear. The biggest offender that I commonly see are D-rings. For whatever reason, guys end up with these flashy, multicolored D-rings on their gear. What I suspect is they go to the PX, they get something like this, a sunblock bottle that comes with a D-ring, and then after they're done with this, it ends up on their gear. You can go to Walmart, you can get camouflaged D-rings for a little over $1 in multiple different sizes, or you can get, the more expensive Blackhawk type tactical D-rings and tactical colors if you really need a D-ring to put on your gear. The next thing, I'm sure this is going to rub some people the wrong way, but morale patches. You don't need them. Get rid of them. As cool as they are, get rid of them. You're a professional fighting organization. What needs to belong there is whatever your unit's SOP is. In this case, your name placard with unit and blood type and kill number on there. You're a professional organization, especially when you're fighting a counterinsurgency. The enemy is amongst the people. They are watching you. Their perception is reality.
Fleece up any excessive straps that may be hanging out. Hanging straps can get caught on vegetation, not to mention that it makes the pack look like a gear bomb. The old saying is, a tight pack is a light pack. These straps can either be taped up or tucked in to prevent them from hanging out.
That's fine, you don't have to pull every little thing out. Some wipes, some electrical tape. Yeah. Well, okay, so do you want both flashlights? I would only take...
Many modern packs come with Velcro pieces at the end of the strap to enable you to roll them up and secure them quickly and easily. Web gear and body armor should be worn correctly and fitted properly to the wearer. Chin straps on the helmet should be buckled on the chin how it's supposed to be worn, and not hanging down like some World War II Hollywood movie. Troops should not be smoking and joking. They need to have a combat mindset right now. They're about to step off on combat operations, where their and their buddies' lives depend on mission success. Ensure that your men are carrying the proper amount of water for the mission. Verify that all the water is topped off. Camelbacks and canteens that are not completely full can and will make excessive noise on the move when they swish around. Ordnance. Have your men been issued any grenades, claymore mines, or pyro? If so, make sure that the ordnance is properly packed and secured. Grenades should be placed in pouches specifically designed to hold them, and not just placed in random pouches or hung off the gear. That's a good way to lose gear or have an unwanted accident. Weapons should be inspected to ensure that they are functioning properly, clean, and properly lubricated. Check your men's ammunition to ensure that they are carrying their prescribed combat load. For a rifleman, this is typically 7 magazines. Inspect the magazines to ensure that they are topped off. For magazines without a round indicating window, simply push down on the top round. Your finger should protrude about a fingernail's length into the magazine, which indicates that there's approximately 28 rounds loaded up. Next, have your men op-check all gear that requires batteries for proper function, such as your NVGs and their individual weapon-mounted IR lasers and flashlights.
All serialized gear should be dummy cored to individual warfighter's equipment. Serialized gear, for the most part, is mission essential gear, like our night vision, the IR laser that's on our rifle. We don't want that falling off. We want the ability to retain it in the event that it does fall off. And God forbid, we don't want it to fall in the hands of the enemy as well. For instance, I got a compass here. A compass actually comes with a lanyard. I simply ran this through these loops here. And if this were to fall out of this warfighter's equipment, hey, he's just retained it. He didn't lose his compass. Same is true with the NVGs. Set up a system where you have a dummy cord on your NVGs to where it can hook onto probably the Ranger band around the Kevlar. You have enough slack to where you can put this up or put it down and still use the NVGs. And you can easily disconnect it from your Kevlar and put it back in your NVG pouch and then hook it back to your gear down there, so that if your NVGs were to fall out of the pouch on your gear, it would be retained just like this compass here.
Test the amount of noise made by your men's gear during movement. Have your individual team and squad members jump up and down. If excessive noise is heard, try to determine where the source of the noise is so that you can secure the problem. Comm checks also need to be conducted to ensure that your radios are talking with your unit's COC. Remember, your radio is your most powerful weapon. When inspecting your men's gear while it's laid out on a poncho, here are a few things to look for. First, let's start with excessive gear. Remember, ounces equal pounds and pounds equal pain. If a warfighter is carrying too much gear into the fight, he's more likely to go down as a heat casualty or fall out of the movement, which can have a direct impact on mission accomplishment. Part of your job as a leader is to police up excessive gear. If that means crushing some souls and increasing the suck factor for some, so be it. The mission comes first. With snivel gear and warming layers, you must take into consideration what the temperature is expected to be during the mission. Is it expected to rain? If so, we have to make a decision on whether to take our Gore-Tex top and bottom, or just the Gore-Tex top. Obviously, the more wet and cold you can expect in the environment, the more likely you will need both items. If you opt out of taking rain gear altogether, I can tell you from first-hand experience that one of the biggest killers of morale is being both cold and wet. Choose wisely. Here we have multiple pieces of warming layers laid out for what we would expect to be a cold environment. Again, consider the environment and weigh the benefit of having all this compared to what the extra weight of carrying it and its potential effect on mission accomplishment. When it comes to cutting weight, we can consolidate many of these items so that we're only taking the essentials. If I were needing to cut weight here, I would drop the heavy fleece, the ski mask, polypro top and bottom, one of the pairs of gloves, and only retain the lightweight grid fleece. Remember, you will have a Gore-Tex jacket along with your standard skivvy shirt and uniform shirt all underneath your gear to help keep you warm. Your watch cap and neck gaiter can also serve the same purpose as a ski mask. Thus, the ski mask is excessive gear. Chow is very important. Combat operations can be very rigorous and thus burn a lot of calories. Calories equal energy, and you must have an adequate amount of chow that will sustain an individual warfighter through the entirety of the mission. My recommendation is no less than 2 MREs a day. Additionally, MREs come with a lot of unnecessary items. They should first be field stripped in order to ditch the excess. I typically retain 1 brown MRE bag to initially put my field strip chows inside and then put all my trash into it. Ensure that your men have note-taking gear for a whole host of tasks such as fire plan sketches, range cards, and any number of reports that may need to be generated. Every warfighter should have a red lens capable flashlight, as well as extra batteries for any piece of gear that requires them, such as NVGs, IR lasers, weapon-mounted lights, and etc. No explanation needed here. Make sure your men have proper equipment to keep their rifle and their ass clean. Both a dirty jammed weapon and monkey ass have a direct effect on mission accomplishment. Also recommended is some kind of small travel-sized body powder to help keep the chafing in check for your feet and balls. How long are you going to be in the field? Extra skivvies and skivvy shirts can be nice to have, but aren't necessary for short-duration operations. Extra socks, however, are a must. Your feet are your Cadillacs. If they go down, you go down. Take care of them. Willie Peter, i.e. waterproofing bags, are great pieces of gear. Not only do they keep your gear dry, they can also turn your pack into a flotation device if a situation arises where your team or squad has to make a water crossing. A large Willie Peter bag inside the main portion of the pack can be used to keep your poncho liner and warming layers dry, while the smaller bag can keep the smaller items that need to be more easily accessible, such as extra socks, easy to grab. The sleep system. Once again, what are the expected weather conditions of the mission? The sleep system, which consists of a bivy sack, a sleeping bag, and a compression bag, are heavy and take up a lot of space in your pack. For shorter missions, if the weather is permitting, opt for a ranger roll for your men, which consists of just using your poncho and poncho liner. Combine that with the other warming layers that you're already wearing when it's cold, and you'll survive. You might not be comfortable, depending on how cold it is, but you'll make it through. The weight saved is worth the suffering in the end. The old saying is, pack light, freeze at night. Items like e-tools are heavy, but necessary pieces of gear. However, depending on the type of mission, not everybody needs to hike an e-tool. One per fire team should be sufficient in most cases. These two items generally go hand in hand. After the inspections have been conducted, question each member about the mission. Some of the recommendations for checking the knowledge of your men are asking them, what is the mission? What are the routes? What is the enemy situation? Where are adjacent units? What is the fire support plan? What is your assignment, and during what part of the mission will you perform it? What are the other members supposed to do at certain times during the mission? What is the challenge of password? What are the call signs? What are the radio frequencies? What is the no-comm, lost man, and Kazovac plan, and any other mission-oriented details. Now it's time for the practical application portion of this video. Here's the backstory for this exercise. Your squad has been tasked with conducting a 24-hour patrol in your platoon's AO. Enemy activity is picked up in the area, and contact is likely. The forecast for the next 48 hours is highs in the low 60s and lows in the high 40s, with the possibility of rain. You are a fire team leader in 1st Squad, 2nd Fire Team. You are conducting final pre-combat checks and pre-combat inspections of your team prior to stepping off in approximately 3 hours. Lance Corporal Smuckatelli is a rifleman in your fire team. He is geared up and says he is ready to step. In this exercise, you will conduct an inspection of Lance Corporal Smuckatelli and his gear. This is the final inspection before he steps off with you on this patrol. How Smuckatelli is right now is exactly how he will be when he leaves the wire. It is up to you as a team leader to identify any deficiencies so that Smuckatelli can fix them. You may pause the video at any time during the inspection to further look at his gear. This is Lance Corporal Smuckatelli. He is ready for inspection. You inspected Lance Corporal Smuckatelli's first aid kit, and it is complete as per unit SOP. This is the gear that Smuckatelli is planning on carrying in his assault pack. That completes this inspection. Let's see how you did. First, Lance Corporal Smuckatelli's face is not properly camouflaged. He's wearing flashy civilian sunglasses, which are not approved tactical ballistic eyewear. His Kevlar helmet chin strap is undone. He's wearing a shiny D-ring that is reflecting light. He has a Texas and Marine Corps emblem morale patch on his chest. Although extremely badass and awesome, it is unauthorized. Here we have discovered that Smuckatelli has a partially loaded magazine. In this segment, we found that his NVGs, which are serialized gear, are not dummy corded to him. Additionally, there is an M67 fragmentation grenade loosely hooked onto the molly webbing of his gear and not in a pouch designed to carry the grenade. Here we see that Smuckatelli is wearing a brightly colored wristwatch. He does not have a dog tag in his left boot. Additionally, it is clear that full personal protective equipment is mandatory for this op. Smuckatelli is not wearing his gloves, which are part of your PPE. Here we see that his pack straps are loose and hanging out. In this scene, we found that Smuckatelli's canteens were not topped off and making excessive noise. Additionally, between the gear on Smuckatelli's person and in his assault pack, he only had 2 canteens of water. I'd recommend an additional 2-quart canteen or a 3-liter Camelback in addition to the 2 canteens he has already. Now on to items that Smuckatelli was planning on carrying in his assault pack. First and foremost, based on the weather conditions I briefed, Smuckatelli has excessive warming layers and can afford to lose some. For example, he has a polypro top and bottom, a grid fleece, an M65 field jacket liner, as well as a Gore-Tex jacket. Since it's expected to rain, Smuckatelli will definitely be taking his Gore-Tex, so we'll allow him to take one warming layer top. He can either take his lightweight grid fleece or his field jacket liner, his choice. The polypro top and bottom and one of the other warming layers will definitely need to be dropped. Smuckatelli also has an extra set of gloves and a ski mask that can be dropped as excess as well. Here we see that Smuckatelli is only planning on bringing 1 MRE for a 24-hour operation. Although he's not going to die from starvation on this, he's not going to be taking in enough calories. Additionally, in the event of follow-on missions, where the squad is tasked with a new mission while we're still in the field, he has nothing else. He also did not field strip his MRE, adding unnecessary weight to his loadout. We also see that Smuckatelli was planning on bringing a field stool. This is a luxury item and is not needed here. Smuckatelli also has 1 skivvy shirt and 1 pair of skivvy shorts packed, but does not have any extra socks. This is planned to be a 24-hour op. The likelihood of needing to change a skivvy shirt or shorts in that time period is next to nothing. He will, however, most certainly need to change his socks during this time period. Lastly, Smuckatelli is attempting to Cadillac by bringing his complete sleep system, as well as a pillow and a 1-man tent. All this is excessive gear and not needed for this op. Given the weather conditions, Smuckatelli can make do with the Ranger roll and ditch all the other comfort items.
That completes this episode of our Infantryman's Guide, pre-combat checks and pre-combat inspections. If you're liking what you're seeing, don't forget to check out my channel and subscribe. I've already done several infantry-related videos and plan on doing several more in the future. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment.